Could all of the council members come to the well?
Okay, Moore, you got it. Okay, Moore came in. You got 12. Filch, they're not in the well.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin,
Here.
Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moorer, McCormack, Polensik, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone rise for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll make the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting. Under Section 605.04 of the Codified Ordinances, no person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of Section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the Codified Ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in this disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in this disruption are out of the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember Starr, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with, the journal approved, seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Thank you. I will move to public comment. Please, once again, all of the speakers have 3-minute time limits. Please look at the light that is yellow, means to wrap it up. When it is red, that means your time is up, and wrap it up, okay? First, we have, and I would ask all council members to turn around and watch the proceedings or watch the conversation that the speakers have, and please, speakers, acknowledge your time. First, we have Ronald James from University Heights. He wants to talk about dollars for tenant support and homeless prevention. He's representing the Morelands Group, and he's not being paid by anyone. Mr. James.
Good evening, council members. On September 15, 2024, the residents of 2010 Hampton Avenue were supposed to vacate their apartments because their building had been condemned by the city of Cleveland. Right across the street at 2899 Hampton Avenue, the building was in a similar condition. Both buildings must be evacuated. Most of the residents are still there, however. The residents can't leave because they have no money and there are few affordable code compliance apartments for them to move into. The residents have had their rents and security deposits stolen by people who claim to be the managers of the apartment buildings. The housing court has been unable to locate the real owners. In June of last year, the city set aside $1 million to said residents in these kinds of situations. Winter is coming, and please release the money now. Enforcement of the law without help for residents is very harmful to people in need of affordable housing. Unless this money is released, and it is only the beginning of this nightmare. The residents need help now. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Next, we have Brenda Bickerstaff from Ward 9 to talk about homeless solutions. She is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Ms. Bickerstaff here? Ms. Bickerstaff going once, Ms. Bickerstaff going twice. I do not see or hear Ms. Bickerstaff. We'll move to Mr. Juan Collado Diaz. He's from Ward 11. He wants to talk about problems with public comment. He's not representing anyone and he's not being paid by anyone. Mr. Diaz, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everybody. First, I want to say Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. It is one of the things that I want to talk about today. Our city council has only one Latina sitting in council, which is Jasmine Santana. Since she got appointed, elected, I'm sorry, we have seen a big, amazing amount of diversity with our Latino community in Cleveland. Now, I wanted to talk about that. When I was signing for public comment this week, I did notice that the website has no translation in the language of Spanish. For people that do not know, wards 12 and 14 are very populated with a lot of Latinos in Cleveland, and it's one of the majority of the people in Cleveland are also Latinos. Not having a language for our people, it's like not having ADA accessible areas for people that need it. I think council should look at that and see how that could be fixed in the future for people that cannot speak English, and maybe add a translator for those individuals here in City Hall, the council meetings. With that said, I wanted to talk about also the future of public comment. Right now, what's going on? In the past week, we have seen a rise of individuals coming to use this platform as lobbying, and I am guilty of that because I've done it in the past. Hypocritical of me to be talking about that. But I wanted to see what are the solutions and council can bring up instead of having people here taking the spaces from other individuals and have priorities that belong to the city and are more important to talk to you guys about instead of talking about things that are happening in one ward or the other and just having 10 people speak about the same issue. I know a couple of the council members mentioned that, but this should not be a platform for lobbying. And again, hypocritical because I used it for lobbying in the past, but I want to know what are the possibilities from council to find out solutions for people to be able to lobby here, not in this, using this platform, but lobby you guys directly. And I know Ohio laws have things, but maybe we can share those and make those more public to individuals so they can come and not use this platform to do so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have State Representative Terrence Upchurch from Ward 7. He's here to talk about Issue 1 and State House updates. He's not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Is Representative Upchurch here? I do not see Representative Upchurch going once, Representative Upchurch going twice. Representative Upchurch is not here. Next, we have Yvonne Polk from Ward 5 to talk about proclamations from mayor and transparency to residents. She is not representing anyone and she is not being paid by anyone. Ms. Polk, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. President and others. I'm standing here to tell you how hurt I felt when the mayor administration denied a proclamation for a mother who lost her child, a sibling who lost their sister, and a child who lost their mother. I was devastated. There's no protocol or transparency with this administration. On Friday, September 13th, Christmas Barksdale lost her life in a fatal car accident on I-90 on East 55th Street. The family reached out to me requesting a proclamation from the mayor's office. The following Monday, my daughter went down to City Hall and filled out the form. I had in the past requested numerous proclamations before this administration and some through this current administration. A few days passed and I received a phone call from Cassandra Moore stating she needed more information. I then resubmitted the form. She called me back and still wanted more information. She asked, can a family member call? I asked what else was needed. She then stated she would check my last email and let me know if anything was needed. I did not receive a phone call. On Friday, the day of pickup, the proclamation, my daughter went back down to City Hall, no proclamation. She asked to speak to someone because Cassandra Moore refused to come and speak with her. She spoke with Ryan Parente, I may be saying his name wrong. He asked her to fill out the form again and have a family member to call, and he would take care of it. Her brother, Desmond, was devastated, but he did call because they did want this, but they never called him back. Then the Ryan Parentes, he didn't call him back. He then sent an email with denial from the mayor's office, and I then contacted the mayor's office myself, and I spoke to a representative named Cameron. He asked me about my concern. I explained it to him what had taken place. He chuckled and tells me the mayor do not speak to residents on the phone. Okay, now I'm devastated. I let him know he was very unprofessional. He said if that is all, and hung up. The family was looking forward to this proclamation. At that point, I had no choice. I didn't know exactly what to do, so I called Councilman Richard Starr. I explained to him what had taken place. I asked him if he could assist me, and if he couldn't, it would be fine because I knew it was the day before the funeral. Later, I received a phone call from Councilman Starr's office that the proclamation was done. Not only was it done, it was brought to my residence. The devil refused, but God always have an angel waiting. I want to thank Councilman Starr on behalf of the family, and they said thank you so much. And Council President Blaine Griffin for signing and Pat Griffin for her signature. After I informed the family of the denial, the proclamation was read. I leave this with all of you. If God is for you, who can be against you? The election is next year.
Thank you, Ms. Pope. Next, we have Angela Davis. Angela Davis is from Ward 3. Angela is here to talk about the Cleveland Police Department, and she is not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Ms. Davis, you have the floor.
Hello, I am here because Cleveland Police Department illegally towed my car. The first one, when they initially towed it, they said that I was arrested for a hit and skip, no parking, on private property, block drive, rush hour, abandoned car, and expired fictitious plates. 30 days later, after they've towed and destroyed my car, they then said that they towed my car for abandonment. So I have been without a car for the last 6 months. I want to thank Councilman Kerry McCormick, Councilwoman Jenny Spencer, and Councilman Anthony Harrison for trying to help me get this issue resolved. But I do want to let you know that I have obtained an attorney, and if this issue is not resolved and I have a new vehicle within the next 30 days, I will be suing Cleveland. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Next, we have Raya Robinson. Raya Robinson is from Ward 5. She's here to talk about help with nuisances in the neighborhood. She is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Raya Robinson here? I do not see Raya Robinson. Raya Robinson is not here. We'll move to John Adams. John Adams is from Ward 16. He wants to give the update status for the Community Police Commission. He represents the Cleveland Community Police Commission, and he is the chair. But I do not see Mr. Adams. Is Mr. Adams here? Mr. Adams going once, Mr. Adams going twice. He's not here. Last but not least, Reverend Jimmy Gates from Ward 4, talking about the pending move of the Cleveland Browns. He is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Reverend Gates here? I do not see Reverend Gates. Reverend Gates going once, Reverend Gates going twice. Reverend Gates is not here. All right, that ends public comment. Madam Clerk, please share communications.
File number 1152-2024 from Director Martin Kane. Notice of grant acceptance from U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for the Division of Water Pollution Control for sewer work on East 115th Street in the amount of $959,752. File number 1153-2024 from Director Martin Kane. Notice of grant acceptance from U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for the Division of Water Pollution Control for sewer work on West 70th Street in the amount of $959,752. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 1137-2024, transfer of ownership application at 1360 West Mall Drive, Ward 3. File number 1138, 2024, regarding a transfer of license application at 2038 West 4th Street, Ward 3. File number 1139, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4310-12 Clark Avenue, Ward 3. File number 1140, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4693 State Road, Ward 13. File number 1141, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4716 State Road, Ward 13.
Thank you. Are there any appointments?
File number 1147, 2024, from Council President Blaine A. Griffin, recommending the reappointments of Councilmember Anthony T. Hairston and of Joseph Titron to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council pursuant to Section 3735.69 of the Ohio Revised Code to terms ending in December 2026. Without objection, the appointments are approved.
Thank you. Any condolence resolutions?
There are none.
All right. Anybody want to acknowledge anyone from the floor? Seeing no condolence resolutions, this is Councilman Kevin Conwell.
Put a number in for my good friend Teresa Sutton, just passed away Thursday at 6 p.m. at Cleveland Clinic. Teresa Sutton, a good, very, very good activist. Thank you.
So noted.
Thank you. Can all Councilmember Anthony Hairston.
Mr. President, hold out a number for Lawatha Braxton.
So noted.
Thank you. Can all members of council rise for a moment of silence? Thank you. Are there any congratulatory resolutions? Seeing no congratulatory resolutions, I'm going to ask if our friend Ambassador Sandra Morgan and Mayor Pouillet can join me right here to the right at the microphone, and could our colleagues open up the dais? All right. Ms. Morgan wanted to make sure that she let us know that she's not ambassador, she's honorary counsel, but she's better known, everybody, as Garrett Morgan's granddaughter. So this is Sandra Morgan. So want to take a moment, if we could, to honor a guest that is here visiting from Senegal. And we actually have the mayor of Senegal, and if Mayor Bibb would like to join us, he's welcome to join us as well. But we actually have the mayor of Senegal. This is Mayor Alioune, I want to say it right, Alioune Pouillet. Mayor Alioune Pouillet, and he's from Dakar, Senegal, and he's here. Ms. Morgan brought him here basically to look at how we do economic development, how we do legislation, and how government works and how our government functions here. He's visited Cincinnati and other locations, so let's give a warm round of applause for Mayor Pouillet. And I'll start out, if I could, to allow Ms. Morgan to say a couple remarks, and then we'll bring up Mayor Pouillet, and then we'll take a photo, and we want to present you with a proclamation from the city of Cleveland. Thank you, sir.
Surprise, surprise. I had no idea that I was going to be making any comments here. I was sitting back there drinking my coffee and listening quite comfortably to the goings-on at the meeting. But I'd like to say thank you all on behalf of myself and the mayor, and he can speak for himself. I'm delighted that City Council was so kind in having us, in the office earlier today. We've been throughout the city with the waterworks, various places throughout the great city of Cleveland, so that this mayor can learn how we do business and see democracy in action. And I know that he has been really overwhelmed with how wonderful everyone has been here and everything that he's learned. And the best is yet to come. We have a lot more to do here in the city. This is only day one. How can it get any better than this? I don't know. But from my perspective, I thank you all for the kindness and the generosity that you've shown to me in order to allow Mayor Pouye to come to Cleveland and to share all of your knowledge with him. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening for everybody. My name is Aline Pouye. I come from Senegal in West Africa. I am the mayor of Sébikotane, which is a city in Dakar region, Dakar area, a city of almost 40,000 residents. So I would mention that my English is not so good, but I am trying. So I will thank you for having me today with Mrs. Morgan, and for giving me also the opportunity to talk with you and to attend to your city council. It is very, very interesting. And as mayor, I am here to learn, to find how democracy is done here in practice, and to share my little experience, of course. And what I already learned is the way that you give people the opportunity to complain in the council. It is something that I think I will apply in Senegal, because it is a very democratic way to give people the voice to tell their problem and their trouble. And also I would like to thank the mayor of Cleveland. He also looked like me, a young mayor, because I am one of the youngest mayor in Senegal. I was elected in 2022. So I am doing my best to give a new city, to develop a new policy. And I think what I learn here will be helpful for me when I will go back to Senegal. And I am open for all kind of relationship between my city and other cities. And also I am inviting investors to come to visit Africa to show the opportunities that Africa has now, and to make a relationship more strong between Africa and America. I thank you a lot.
Awesome. All right, thank you. We're just want to present you with just a resolution of welcome from Cleveland City Council. These resolutions are not just pieces of paper. These go down in the city record, which means that your visit here to Cleveland, Ohio will be memorialized in the history of our city. So want to make sure we present this to you, and I won't read the whole thing, but it basically says, whereas the council is especially pleased to welcome Mayor Alioune Pouye of Sébikotane of the Dakar province of Senegal on his visit to the city of Cleveland on Monday, October 21st, 2024 at the Cleveland City Council meeting located at Cleveland City Hall. And I'll go to the end where it says, the municipality of Sébikotane is rich with history and has amazing cultural diversity, agricultural farming, and scrap metal processing industries. Mayor Pouye's leadership in the city of Sébikotane has allowed him to be nominated for the Excellence Prize of Local Leadership in West Africa in August of 2024 in Cotonou, Benin. Now, be it resolved that Cleveland City Council is extremely pleased and proud to further extend best wishes to Mayor Alioune Pouye for continued success in all of his future endeavors. Mayor, on behalf of all of us, thank you. Let's give another round. All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, first reading emergency ordinance is referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 1142, 2024, by Council Members Conwell, Hairston, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Community Development to enter into a development agreement with Bequest Builders or its designee relating to the sale and redevelopment of city-owned properties currently in the city's land reutilization program, which are located in the Glenville Circle North neighborhood, and authorizing the Commissioner of Purchases and Supplies to sell city-owned property no longer needed for public use. Ordinance 1143, 2024, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin, by departmental request, to amend sections 241.05 and 35 of the codified ordinances as amended relating to food shop licenses, fees, and categories. Ordinance 1144, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, to amend sections 381.051, 52, 53, 54, and 381.06 of the codified ordinances as amended by Ordinance 2393-02 relating to fees for various fire permits, special inspection and testing fees, and fees for certificates of qualification. Ordinance 1145, 2024, by Council Members Polensek, Bishop, and Griffin, by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio for resurfacing a portion of Villaview Road, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to employ one or more professional consultants to design the improvement, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants from any public or private entity, authorizing any relative agreements, and causing payment to the city's share to the state for the cost of the improvement. Ordinance 1146, 2024, by Council Members Conwell, Bishop, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to enter into one or more agreements with the City of East Cleveland, authorizing the City of East Cleveland to construct improvements on Woodlawn Avenue as Phase 1 of Circle East Transformational Project located in the cities of East Cleveland and Cleveland, and to cause payment of Cleveland's share.
Thank you. First reading, emergency ordinance is to be passed.
Ordinance 1148, 2024, by Councilmember Jones, authorizing Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Famicos Foundation for the public purpose of providing a community programming promotion project through the use of Ward 1 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 1149, 2024, by Councilmember Polensek, authorizing Director of Department of Community Development to enter into an agreement with LMB Consulting for commercial revitalization services for East 185th Street through the use of Ward 8 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 1150, 2024, by Councilmember Bishop, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with New Point Community Development Corporation for the public purpose of providing the food card distribution program through the use of Ward 2 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 1151, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin, authorizing Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Fairfax Renaissance Development Corporation for the public purpose of providing the food card distribution program through the use of Ward 6 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 1154, 2024, by Councilmember Casey, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Safety to enter into agreement with Jefferson Puritas West Park Development Corporation for the Safety Series 2024 through the use of Ward 16 casino revenue funds.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Starr, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading emergency ordinance is to be passed.
Ordinance 989, 2024, by Council Members Moore, Bishop, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Works to enter into one or more agreements with the State of Ohio Department of Transportation to provide general routine maintenance and repair of a portion of State Route I-76 or 176 for a period of 1 year. Ordinance 1011, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Safety to cause payment to Cuyahoga County for services rendered through the County Department of Public Safety and Justice Services to reimburse the county for the city's share of costs for maintaining and use of 5 Motorola NG911 workstations and other related expenses. Ordinance 1012, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Safety to cause payment to Cuyahoga County for services rendered through the County Medical Examiner's Office to reimburse the county for the city's share of costs for maintaining and use of automated fingerprint identification system. Ordinance 1013, 2024, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the mayor and the Commissioner of Purchases and Supplies to acquire and reconvey properties presently owned by 1030 East 62nd Street LLC or its designee for the purpose of entering into the chain of title prior to the adoption of tax increment financing legislation authorized under Section 5709.41 of the revised code for the 1030 East 62nd redevelopment project. Ordinance 1015, 2024, by Council Members Polensek, Griffin, and House Jones, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts for the necessary items of one fire alarm system, including labor and materials for the installation of the new system and removal and abatement of, of the current fire system, if necessary, for the Division of Fire, Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 1016, 2024, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Economic Development to enter into contract with 1030 East 62nd Street, LLC, or its designee, to provide economic development assistance to partially finance the project costs for the development of the 1030 East 62nd Street project and other associated costs necessary to redevelop the property. Ordinance 1049, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, to amend the title in Section 1 of Ordinance 525, 2024, relating to a professional services contract to develop and implement young adult violence interventions and prevention programs and strategies for the Community Relations Board. Ordinance 1068, 2024, by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Economic Development to enter into an enterprise zone agreement with Erie View Holdings, LLC, Erie View Tower Residential, LLC, Erie View Galleria, LLC, Erie View Tower, LLC, and/or designee, to provide for tax abatement for certain real property improvements for the revitalization of the tower, Galleria, and parking garage located at 100 Erie View Street, 1301 East 9th Street, in the Cleveland area enterprise zone. Ordinance 1069, 2024, as amended, by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with Erie View Holdings, LLC, Erie View Tower, LLC, Erie View Galleria, LLC, Erie View Tower Residential, LLC, and/or designee, to assist with the financing of the tower, Galleria, parking garage to be located at 100 Erie View Tower, 1301 East 9th Street, to provide for payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Ordinance 1078, 2024 by Councilmember McCormack, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Works, Division of Recreation to enter into a grant agreement with Ohio City Incorporated to provide program support for Near West Recreation youth programs.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Starr, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
That was it.
That was it?
Yep.
Introductions. Do we have any introductions? Councilman Kevin Conwell.
I have a young man that I met Saturday. He was helping us pass out issue 49, information for Kamala Harris, also for Sherrod Brown. The young brother's name is Quasi Ransom, and he's going to work with us a lot. Stand up, man, and be recognized. All right? Help him out. This young man, give him a round of applause. I'll talk with you afterwards, Ransom. Thank you very much.
Do we have any other? Councilwoman Rebecca Moore.
I just want to introduce, I know a lot of you know him, but Ryan Collins from First Energy, who's here tonight. And I want to give a special thank you to him because he's worked very hard to help me get an outlet at my Ben Franklin gazebo. It's been a project we've been working on, and I'm very grateful for your help, Ryan.
Thank you. Welcome, Ryan. Councilman Anthony Hairston.
Thank you. We have a Ward 10 resident, Mary Williams, is with us tonight. Mary Williams, say hello. Wave your hand. All right.
Are there any other introductions? Seeing no other introductions, are there any announcements? Any announcements? Councilman Kevin Conwell, announcements.
Thank you. This is about people with disabilities, Star. And this is very, very important to me. This is our 17th annual Disability Awareness Day. When? It would be at 11 a.m., the time from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Wednesday, October the 30th, at Benjamin Rose, 11890 Fair Hill Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44120. And it's going to be again October the 30th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, Mayor Bibb, I'm going to talk with your Human Resource Director, Councilmember Brian Casey, and I, so that we can start putting more people to work in the city of Cleveland, because we believe in the ability and not the disabilities. So we're going to sit back and talk with Matthew and get them here at City Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements? Seeing no, are any other announcements? I'm on announcements. You got an announcement, Councilman Mike Polensek. Announcements. You got an announcement?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerk, Honorable Mayor, members of the body. Wednesday, the 23rd, we will have the operational review for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police, Division of Fire, Division of EMS, Emergency Medical Services, Division of Animal Control, and Division of Corrections. So all members are invited to attend this very important briefing on Wednesday, the 23rd at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to let you know that this Friday night is our Councilmatic event in Ward 16, where it's a Haunted Hollow, which is a safe way for kids to go trick-or-treating for this holiday season, or this Halloween season. So it's family and age friendly. So if anybody doesn't have anything to do Friday night, Jefferson Park, 5 to 9.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jenny Spencer.
Thank you. This Wednesday evening, October 23rd at 5 o'clock is the second community meeting for the new Marion C. Seltzer School redesign. For those of you who have been attending council meetings, my colleagues, you'll recall a lot of public comment related to Cadell Commons Park. Former Councilman Jay Westbrook is in the audience. Sorry, Jay, we should have introduced you. So introducing former Councilman Jay Westbrook, one of the advocates to preserve the preponderance of the green space at Cadell Commons Park, and there is a community meeting for a totally redesigned school on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. That said, I wanted to draw to the administration's attention that we as members are discussing, we got a hard copy flyer of budget meetings. I just saw it for the first time today. Unfortunately, the first meeting at Cadell Recreation and Resource Center is also Wednesday evening, so there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect in having gotten this information to council, and I've not had an opportunity to share this meeting notice with the community with now 2 days' notice. Wanted to pass that on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Seeing no other announcements, I'll move to miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Councilman Richard Starr.
Thank you. Tonight, I just wanted to share a couple of different things and give just kudos to you, Council President. Last week, you did something that was very different. And what I mean by that is you hosted 3 different redistricting meetings in the community. No matter how somebody want to say it or not, you held the meetings. A lot of people sat in your seat when it was time to do redistricting. They did what they wanted to do behind closed doors. They didn't want to open it up to the community so they could know what is actually going on by allowing them to understand the process. And what I want you to understand is that your vision, your communication, your integrity, your strategic thinking, and your adaptability was on display for what you did last week. So I definitely want to give a round of applause to you, Council President, for doing that. Now, at those meetings, I did go to 2, and I also wanted to make sure people understand that in 2008, the people made that charter amendment. The people got that on the ballot and voted for us to have to base our seats or representation by the census tract. The people did this. It wasn't nobody else. So when people are saying we don't want bigger wards, we don't want this, we want communities as a whole, that's something they decided in 2008, long before you became the council president, or some of us was actually here in this body. So we just doing what we're asked to do by the charter amendment, but I want the people to understand, not everybody fills out the census, especially during a global pandemic like we just came out of. So yes, some people say East Side lost numbers and population, some say West Side maintained. I'ma just say the truth. You can't tell me people ain't in certain areas when I walk past and see them every day. But based on the law, based on the charter, what's in place, we have to do what's right. So we do have to redistrict. We do have to make sure some things change, and we got to just figure out what we're going to do. But I want to commend your leadership, Council President, because you stood up, you made sure the people's voices were heard, and rather anybody say it came a week or a week notice, we got things to do. At the end of the day, you're doing it, Council President. I salute you.
Thank you, Councilman. And thank you to all the council members that showed up. Councilman Starr is right. This is probably the first time, or the first time that we've ever had just this kind of input. So thank you all of my colleagues, because I believe we had everybody show up at the meetings, at least 1 or 2, okay? Thank you so much. I do have Councilman Brian Casey. Councilman Brian Casey has the floor, and I'm going to give Councilman Brian Casey a couple of minutes extra time if he needs.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a time with what the city is facing where if you were born and raised in the city of Cleveland, you become embedded in everything Cleveland. And what I want to talk about today is our sports in the city of Cleveland. For being a mid-major market, we have 3 major sports in the city of Cleveland. I want to focus on what's directly to the north of Cleveland City Hall. In 2012, this city received a new ownership of our beloved Cleveland Browns. Since 2012, there have been 201 Cleveland Brown games played. Of those 201 games, we have walked away a winner 71 times and a loser 130 times. Under the current ownership of our beloved Browns, That's a .350 winning percentage. In any sport, everybody knows that if you had a .350 winning percentage in any year, you would have fired the whole kit and caboodle. Not only every 71 and 130th, but this city also sat through 2016 and 2017, going through a 1-31 season, including an 0-16 unprecedented NFL season where we went through the whole season without winning a game. The average attendance at that stadium over there since 2012, I couldn't add it up real quick, the lowest year was 510,295 fans. The highest year was 606,879 fans. Now, that averages out to about 500 and, looking at the numbers, roughly 525, 530,000 bodies that have to walk through the city of Cleveland to get to where their destination is. I'm not sure that the city could do anything that would attract 500 and some $1,000 to any one destination over the course of what ends up being a 5-month period. 30 years, the taxpayers of the city of Cleveland have been supporting that stadium. 30 years. Councilman Polensek reminds us of this all the time. That stadium is supported by the taxpayers of the city of Cleveland. I'm standing here tonight, Mr. President, and I'm hoping that the mayor and the administration, and I know where you stand on this, doesn't look at 30 years of that stadium and just flushes $300 million down the toilet. Nobody should have the right to come into Cleveland. I don't care if it's the Cleveland Browns, Sherwin-Williams, the Cleveland Clinic, or any other organization that we support that could just be able to turn around and walk away. On May 7th, 2024, this Cleveland City Council unanimously passed an ordinance, not a resolution, an ordinance, which means it's the law, for the administration to successfully, in court or however, defend Ohio Revised Code 9.67, which is the Modell Law. I know that there has to be a plan going forward. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is that a plan moving forward gets announced on a Monday morning, probably after another Browns loss, the poor guys, and then we have to deal with it. I'm calling on the administration to assure this Cleveland Council that President Blaine Griffin is involved in whatever needs to be involved, because this should not be a closed-door session. Now, we've been hearing some things in the news lately regarding why the owners of the Browns want to move to Brook Park. And if you look at the renderings closely, it is a nice, shiny dome stadium, and there are nice buildings around it. But make no mistake about it, because those plans call for 27,000 parking spaces. At $60 apiece, that's $1.6 million per game. So if you want to talk about what's good for the region, when I hear good for the region, I hear what's good for Jimmy's pocket. And when I hear a fan experience, and I don't know if I'm speaking for the rest of Cleveland City Council or the administration, but if the Haslam Sports Group wants to provide a fan experience, put a damn winning team on the field.
Thank you, Councilman Casey. And we've had conversations already between the law director and myself, and I do believe that we're going to have some conversations about pass and win. So those are things, because it is the law, and we are going to follow up, and I will make council aware of those conversations when they take place. Councilman Michael Polensek.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, honorable mayor, and to my colleague Brian Casey. He hit it on the head. Mr. Chairman, I also think we should send a clear message to our counterparts across the street at the county to make it very clear that you do anything to assist in taking this team out of the city of Cleveland, all bets are off here. All bets are off. You took the jail. You took the jail and all those jobs out to Garfield. That's what you're proposing to do, and all the revenue that went with it. And now we know that they're going to ask for something out of the county, and I know they're going to ask for something out of the state. At the end of the day, I'm the only one left here when this vote came up before us a long time ago. And I can tell you then, and I can tell everybody in this room, I couldn't hold my nose and vote for that deal. It was so bad. It was so bad. It passed, though. It passed. And the promises that were made to the people of Cleveland were never fulfilled. The hiring of minorities, women, local businesses, Cleveland-based businesses, we heard it all. I heard it all. I hope the majority of people today are not here to be bamboozled again. The team owners, I have to say this, just not Jimmy Haslam, but all of the sport team owners could do so much for this city if they wanted. They could remake Cleveland. They could turn Cleveland totally around if they wanted to. They could invest in our neighborhoods. They could make a statement saying, you know what, after all these years and all the Clevelanders that have supported our teams, to make a statement that we believe in Cleveland. We believe in this great town. This is a great city. The problem is we don't have believers with fat checkbooks. That's the problem. We have believers all over our neighborhoods, but the people who really have the financial wherewithal to make a difference, go look at the Forbes 400 list that just came out, and look who's on it. Our team owners. Our team owners, wealthiest people in the country. And what are they doing to reshape and re-envision the city of Cleveland? Unless you give them your firstborn and then some, they don't want to do it here. They just want to take, and they took for 30 years. They took for 30 years, and what did we get in return? Number one in poverty, number 1 or 2 in childhood poverty. I call upon them. You know, it's not about being adversarial. And there was a time that I just thought that the owners many, many years ago didn't care about us. They were just bad people or indifferent. But I've come to the realization over the years, Mr. Chairman and my honorable colleagues, the problem is that their world is so different than ours. Their world is different. They don't know what it's like to make a mortgage payment or pay a car loan or pay a utility bill or try to fix your house when the roof's leaking. Their world is different. And until they realize that they have to be partners with us and they have to come to the table and sit down and say, you know what? We realize the poverty and despair and lack of opportunity in the city, and we're going to make a difference here. We're going to support Cleveland-based businesses. We're going to reinvest there. We're going to turn Cleveland around to make it that shining vision on the lake that all of us believe it can be. Until that day comes, they're going to continue to be like this, and every time I walk down Prospect and I see these guys standing out there, that's who I think about, these guys. It's just about, it's always taking, it's always taking, it's taking, never giving back, never giving back. And then when the little bit they do give back, or they'll give you a football field or something, they want you to pat them on the back like, thank you, master. It don't work that way with me. It has never worked with me. I've lived in Cleveland all my life, never lived anyplace else. To the sports team owners, especially to the guy that's got the Browns on the lake, become a player, become a partner with us. Believe in Cleveland. Help us turn this town around. Help us make this city what we all believe it can be, a great, great city, but we need their help. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Before we adjourn Before we adjourn, I want to just say this. I do want to acknowledge former Council President Jay Westbrook, if he could stand and be acknowledged, former Council President Jay Westbrook. I do want to say this, and I'll just level set. Usually I don't make too many comments from the dais. I usually come down. I strongly don't believe the last conversation has been had. Myself and Councilman McCormick and Councilwoman Santana have been talking about council's next steps and some of the things that we want to do. I've talked to several corporate leaders, as well as the mayor has talked to several corporate leaders. This needs to be like it was before, where it was a coalition of people to say how much this meant. There's been infrastructure. There's been a whole ecosystem built around this whole stadium. So I want people to keep that in mind when we have this conversation. Somebody a long time ago made a decision that we were going to be in the sports business. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want us to make sure that this conversation, when we have it, is not just about the decision that we make today, but it's whose shoulders we stand on. Many council members and council bodies have made sacrifices in order to try to develop this downtown ecosystem. Many former mayors and present mayors have been doing it too. And I know that people don't like investments in stadiums and other things, but we do need to make sure that whatever happens, that we actually have a very strong plan moving forward. So I've been in conversation with several people, and I'm not done having conversations. So I'll just leave it at that, and we'll go from there. Councilman Kevin Conwell.
I'm glad you're not, negotiations, what we learned is not over with until it's over with. However, I remember when Jimmy Haslam came to us and we had to make them, they came to us with nothing, Michael, remember that? And I forgot what we were voting on. It was at least 7 or 8 years ago. And you mentioned the football fields, and we had to make them do the football fields before we voted. It was me, you, Zach Reed, and Jeff Johnson. And we battled, and we voted against it. And we stood strong in a repair and recreation center as well. But I looked at the administration as well, and we're pushing for issue 49, but if we give $1 billion or $1.2 billion to Jimmy Haslam Group, and then you trying to go into taxpayers' pockets with this high inflation, it would be hard-pressed to tell them to vote for issue 49. We got to do something to help the children out. It's very, very important. Many of the children in our city, Mr. President, have to go to school just to get a meal. Have to go to school just to get a meal. Many of the children in our city, and we talking about voting for a stadium to give up that kind of money, Mr. Mayor, have to go to school just to take a shower. That's why they hate to close the schools down. And then we turn around and give $1.2 billion. We gotta make the city seamless. We have to make it seamless for our people. We even got pockets on the west side, they don't talk about it too much, but there's a lot of abject poverty. There's over there in the wards over there, as well as in the wards on the east side, and the northeast side, and the southeast side in Glenville. But then when they see that you give $1.2 billion, Jimmy got to think about the people that's in poverty. He lives in the old Glenville area also. He lives in Bratnar, which used to be part of Glenville. All he has to do is drive down 105th Street and see all that poverty that's there. So I was thinking about that as well. I had mixed emotions. Really not mixed emotions, because I'm on the side of the people. And then when you go into some of the houses where the homes are too hot, Mr. President, in the summertime and too cold in the winter. Children living in mold and mildew, and then we give up $1.2 billion. We one of the poorest cities. So we'll negotiate, but I don't want to give the city up, and I want to deal with poverty for my people and for my bosses. And that's why a lot of times, I'm going to say this in my conclusion, people don't vote. They don't vote because they think and they see that Jimmy Haslam is getting this $1.2 billion or whatever the case may be, and then the children are starving, and the children are starving. And we think about that. We got to make this city seamless. And I mentioned that to you on Saturday. You said, that's right, Councilman. You know, we were talking about that. We can't give that in. So I agree with that. I agree with the move that you made. And my residents were talking about it as well. So I'm for to keep negotiating, but just think about the children. when we ask people to raise taxes and then we give them money. I'm passionate about that. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it. I don't see any more microphones. Therefore, Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
By Councilmember Starr, that the absence of Councilmember Bishop is hereby excused, seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Thank you. This council is adjourned to the next regular meeting on October the 28th, 2024.